Diane Buchholz here with Keller Williams Realty, and I'm coming to you with the last topic for our series. Now we are moving into what to expect when we are under contract. We have the home inspection, the appraisal, and then finally closing day. So what does that usually look like? We've made it through the negotiations, we've made it through the offer period, we're under contract, and closing time is typically 30 to 45 days, as I've said previously. It really depends on the lender, but typically that is what they take. Sometimes it can be a little less, sometimes depending on the circumstances, you could go a little bit more. Everything, of course, is up to negotiation, but typically expect your closing day to be anywhere between 30 and 45 days. So after we're under contract, the first thing that we want to order is a home inspection. And as I have talked about that before, again, this is something that is vitally important so that you really can take a look at what is going on with the house, and if there's any hidden issues, or if there are any maintenance issues that you think are going to be above and beyond what you can take care of. Typically 10 days inspection period is sufficient. However, in this crazy market, with it being so competitive with buyers right now, we can shorten that inspection time to 7 days or even 5, providing the inspector can get out, do it properly, and not be rushed. We still want, the time to look at it, and if there's anything that needs to be addressed by the seller, if they don't want to do any of the repairs, then what is it that you want to do? Do you want to go ahead with this, or is it going to be insurmountable and you need to cancel the contract and get your deposit back? So again, this is everything, as always, is negotiable, but this is a very important step. The next thing is going over everything that the mortgage company is going to need, being in constant communication with them, if there's any extra paperwork, or if underwriting has sent out anything that maybe they need an extra document, or need to prove something, or you need to resend a document, something like that, then you are going to be in constant communication with the mortgage company and with their underwriting department. Also, the title company that is handling the closing, they are going to do their due diligence and preparing all the necessary paperwork. They're going to contact the county, the different municipalities. If there's an HOA, they'll order the estoppel fee. They'll make sure that you are going to have a clear title. So they're doing their part as well in this short time frame of 30 to 45 days. So we are moving forward, and everybody is working diligently to get us to the actual closing table. As part of this, the mortgage company will order the home appraisal. Again, this is another protection for you as well as the lender. The appraiser is going to give a neutral third-party objective opinion of the value of the home. So they're going to they're in the same area, they're looking at the same houses, they're looking at the comps. We've done our due diligence, we made an offer based on recent sales. The listing agent more than likely listed the property, and that was also from the recent sales. So we all are working from the same set of data that the appraiser is going to work from, but they are the official word. They are licensed by the state, and they are the ones who are going to make any value adjustments and be a little bit more in-depth and a little bit more thorough on the value. So the outcomes of an appraisal, it'll either come in at value, above value, or below value. If it comes in at value, hooray, everybody's happy, we move forward. If it comes in above value, then hooray, you have some extra equity built in already before closing. If it comes in below value, then there are some things that we need to address. The lender will not loan out for something that is below value. So first of all, the possible outcomes: the seller will agree to come down to the appraised value. They'll take less money for their home, and that is what we will do. Sellers typically don't like this option. They, of course, were banking on the fact of what our purchase price was. So sellers are usually not as thrilled with this option, but still it is what the appraisal has said, and that's where we're at. The second option is the buyer and seller agree to split the difference. So if it comes in, say, $10,000 less, then the buyer would come up $5,000 and the seller would drop their price $5,000. So we're meeting in the middle. This is probably the most common that happens. Each gives a little bit and still come out with a win-win situation, and everyone's happy. Or the third option, the buyer wants to make up the entire difference in cash. Again, in this very, very competitive market we're in right now, sometimes in order to secure the house, buyers will offer over list price, and they will also offer that they will come up with the difference with cash if it ends up appraising under that purchase price. So that is an option that is there, but again, in a very competitive market, that's a little more common, so that you can win the listing. And then the fourth option, of course, is the buyer walks away. If you and the seller cannot come to an agreement, then you will dissolve the contract. Your earnest money will be refunded, and you will end that contract. So those are your four options. Ultimately, the decision is yours. The seller cannot force you to pay the difference. Again, it's everything is worth what someone's willing to pay. So if you don't believe that it's worth that extra in cash, then you are under no obligation to actually do that. But if you can come to a fair agreement, or if this is the house that checks every box and beyond, and it is worth it, then it's definitely something to consider. So it's a very good good thing to look at all of your options. And finally, we have come to closing day. So we've been on a long journey. There's probably been some ups and downs, but here we are, closing day. So final steps, the day before closing, or possibly even the day of, we will go to the house and perform a final walkthrough. Make sure that the house is as it was when you first looked at it, that there's no holes in the wall from the sellers moving out, that a tree hasn't fallen in the backyard and knocked down the fence, that all the appliances that are supposed to be there are still there. So everything is exactly the way that you are expecting it to be. And generally it is. And if not, then we will make it right. But you want to make sure that the house is what you are expecting. Sometimes you cannot be in the vicinity for the closing. So if that is the case, then I, of course, will do a walkthrough and can do a video of the house and do in-depth walkthrough so that you can see, what the actual condition is. Then the next step is to go to the predetermined location. Usually it's the title company office, but sometimes, again, if you're out of state, or there are different things, maybe you're in a different county, or you need to have a remote closer, all of that will have been set up, and we will go to the closing table, even if it's virtual. Prior to that point, the title company will have sent you an Alta Statement, and this will have outlined every penny in the transaction, what is happening, what money that you need to wire, every fee, everything is accounted for, on that Alta statement. So you will have everything in your possession prior to closing, so you can review it at length, well, 3 days prior to closing, so you can review it at length. Then at closing, you will be signing quite a few documents. Basically, it's going to be the mortgage package, which are documents that you have seen already throughout the process, but now we have them in one tidy bundle, which the closer will give to you and review for your signing. It goes through all the details of the loan, and the closer will at least explain that to you if you have any questions. But it will not be the first time that you've seen these documents. So this is just the final step of these documents and the final thing to look at and to sign to get through this process. And finally, the closer will gather all of the signed documents, send them off to the mortgage company. The mortgage company will review, they'll wire the funds, the seller will be paid, the deed will be transferred, and just like that, you'll be handed the keys and you are now a homeowner. So this whole process can take anywhere from 20 minutes to about an hour, depending on the package the lender sent, as well as if there's anything that, any questions that are there that come up, or if there's any discrepancies that need to be taken care of at the closing table that needs to be accounted for. But it's still pretty simple process, and at that point, except for the writer's cramp from signing your name a bunch of times, it's a pretty painless process. So I wanted to thank you so much for tuning into my series, and it is my sincere hope that you found it full of valuable information. I am always available for consultations, either live in my office or via Zoom for your convenience. So at any time, please reach out. Again, my details are in the description below, and always like and subscribe. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.